Okay, we're back on Saturday this time. Yay! So I didn't have to work today, which means we can do the stream when we're supposed to do it. And let me just fix that. Okay. Alright, so we got Impact here. Also, we have some interesting casting news. Not sure if it's confirmed yet. For Spider-Man Homecoming that I suspect someone's going to ask me about. So we got that. Also, anything else you guys want to talk about, but let's do Impact first. So, let's get started. Can you guys hear me? Everything's fine. Okay, cool. Alright, let's go. Impact Wrestling from August 18th. Ascension to Hell. So this was a night of controversies, apparently. You know, both with the Lashley thing and the James Storm thing, which started the show. So Storm takes issue with the officiating in his world title match last week, and he does have a case for that. Then Billy Corgan comes out, and Storm gets in his face, and one thing leads to another. Storm winds up with a hammer and attacking security and just kind of goes nuts, and Billy has no choice but to suspend him indefinitely. Not the outcome I was hoping for. Hashtag Storm for champ. First of all, James Storm was awesome on the mic here in this segment. Awesome. You know, I've talked a lot about how good he is on the mic, but he really is one of the most criminally underrated talkers, probably in the whole industry. Yeah, fantastic mic work from James Storm here. Fan-fucking-tastic. He even got a little more emotion out of Billy Corgan than we usually see. So A-fucking-plus on Storm's performance. The problem was that the way this was set up was really kind of stupid. It's like they knew they wanted to get to that place where Storm gets suspended, but they didn't have an organic way to get there, so the writers contrived this nonsense where, for some reason, Billy is all, well, games are won and lost in the fourth quarter, not the first, and you win some, you lose some, and maybe you just can't win the big one, cowboy. What? Where did all this come from? Billy has always been portrayed as a fair, babyface character, and yeah, Storm was really upset here, sure, but he did have a good argument. He did kind of get screwed in that match. So why are they working so hard to create all this tension? It just doesn't add up. Because you know what the really easy solution to all this was? You give James Storm his rematch and call it a day. He wasn't asking for anything unreasonable here, and Lashley wasn't booked in a match this week anyway, so where's the problem? This segment was very strange. And now there's these rumors that Storm might have left the company or something. I'm not convinced that it's not all just part of some work in this storyline. And if that's the case, then this better be going somewhere good for James Storm, or I'm going to be pissed. Anywho, after this we do Eddie Edwards versus Moose. Good match. I couldn't believe Moose did that spot where he ran up a turnbuckle and then splashed off the top. Wow, I did not know he could do that. That's impressive agility for a guy his size. Anyway, Moose wins, just to tie up some story threads there. The match is pretty straightforward, not a whole lot to talk about with that, but it definitely looks like they're building up to a Moose-Mike Bennett breakup now, with Bennett's ego getting in the way and whatnot. Really? Moose has only been there aligned with Bennett for a couple of weeks, and you're already teasing dissension? Why? What's the fucking rush? Why not take your time with it, Build up to it slowly so it'll actually mean something when it happens. I'm going to quote Linkara on this one. You have to have a status quo before you can shake it up. If the Moose-Mike Bennett alliance was going to break down this quickly, why even do it at all? I think I thought I lost the stream there. Never mind. So next, it's Knockouts time. Gale versus Jade. Now, more than any other knockout matchup right now, this is the one that makes you think, oh, this is going to be damn good. And it was. Kicked ass. It's a great knockouts match. Unfortunately, they went and telegraphed the finish before the match even started. Maria tells Jade that if she loses, she can never get a title shot again, so Jade's in the same boat that Gail is here. But if the loser can never get another title shot, well, obviously there was going to be some kind of DQ finish. You knew that before the bell even rang. Because they had to get around that somehow. Now, I'll take a DQ finish over Jade getting beaten, which would have happened without this stipulation, and we all know it because this is Jane Cena we're talking about. But god damn it, they still had to make it look like Gail was about to win the fucking match before the interference happened. Was that really necessary? I know Gail is always completely protected as a general rule, but when the writers are going... When are the writers going to start protecting all the other knockouts from Gail Kim? I'm just saying. Hang on. Are you guys hearing an echo? Oh, there was an echo. Let me know in the comments if you hear an echo. So I'm getting an echo on my end. No? Alright, guess it's just me then. Okay. Okay, so, alright, moving on. The next part was confusing. As Sienna attacks Gail. So Gail wins by DQ. Then Maria throws the rulebook out the window, claims that Gail lost the match when she didn't, and says that Gail will never get another title shot now. yeah, don't expect that to last very long. Why did they have to get so weird with this? Especially when one simple change would have made everything a lot more logical. Just have Sienna attack Jade instead of Gail. Then Gail loses the match by DQ, meaning she can never get another title shot according to the stipulation, and Maria comes off as smart and cunning rather than looking like she's just throwing shit at the wall. Instead, they do this, which is practically inviting Dixie and Billy to intervene and reverse her decision, and Maria's character was supposed to be smarter than that. You know, I seem to recall the last time Gail and Jade had a singles match, that one ended with a DQ as well. One of these days, the writers are going to have to let these two go for like 20 minutes and have a clean finish. And by clean finish, I mean Jade winning. Just saying. So then we move on to a four-way match in the division that Lashley was about to shit all over. We got DJZ versus Mandrews versus Rockstar Spud versus Braxton Sutter. Tons of action, had a little bit of comedy thrown in there with the everybody hates Spud moment. Every guy got a moment to shine. It was just a really good, really fun match. I enjoyed this a lot. DJZ wins after he suggested to Lashley earlier that they should make this match for the #1 contendership to the X Division title. And I like DJZ winning because I want to see his push continue, but considering what Lashley would do with the title a little bit later, I'm not sure what that means or where this is going or if it's even going anywhere. To be continued. So next, EC3 comes out to address Drew Galloway's challenge from last week, and it doesn't look like it's going either way anymore. Now it's definitely heading toward a Galloway heel turn, and I absolutely think that's the right way to go. You know, they're writing Galloway being very suspicious and paranoid of EC3's motives and acting increasingly bitter about how he keeps getting screwed over. You know, Drew's pretty close to snapping at this point, and it's been pretty well done so far. But EC3 accepts his challenge, puts his Bound for Glory title shot on the line, much to Drew's surprise, and not because he was conned into it or he did it for no reason like an idiot like WWE did with Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio before WrestleMania years ago. No, EC3 is doing it to prove a point, and also because Drew does make a good case for himself, so you can argue that he deserves a shot. It's the little details that make the difference a lot of the time. So then Aaron Rex comes out. He says he's going to be the special referee for some reason. So obviously there's going to be some kind of shenanigans in that match. This twist feels pretty random. Like we've got to get Rex in the mix somehow, so we'll just throw him in with these guys. You know, I don't have a problem with it. It just felt like it came out of nowhere. Really good segment regardless. I'm looking forward to heel Drew Galloway. I think his character will work a lot better as a heel, and I think this angle with him and EC3 has been nicely executed so far. and no, I kind of. Okay, just making sure the sound is okay. So after that, we are treated to a promo segment from Eli Drake talking about how Lashley clearly doesn't have the balls to face Eli Drake for the Eli Drake Championship, formerly the King of the Mountain Championship. It's a great promo, that goes without saying. And I'll be damned if that dummy, yeah, thing hasn't gotten over. TNA dude's gonna love this. Eli actually had to silence the dummy, yeah, chants. Holy shit. Then Mahabali Shera comes out for some reason. Shera wants a match. They have a match, and Eli Drake wins. Okay, why was this done exactly? Don't get me wrong, I was very happy to see Eli Drake pick up a win. He doesn't get enough wins, especially after he was on the losing end of a feud with Grado and Shera during the UK tour, but this didn't really seem to have a point to it. Felt kind of like filler to me, but hey, a win for Eli Drake is a win for Eli Drake, so yay. Okay. The Bobby Lashley thing. He comes out to the ring with all his championship belts in tow. He calls out Dixie and Billy and says he wants to unify his 3 titles. And when they tell him no, he just kind of walks off without the X title and the King of the Mountain title, and I guess he vacated them? Billy talks about crowning a new X Division champion later. He didn't mention the King of the Mountain title, though. Hopefully he'll take my suggestion and just throw it in the trash. I'll be honest, when I first heard about this situation, I hated it. I thought it was devaluing the championships and wasting a golden opportunity to put some up-and-comers over huge by letting them beat Lashley for those belts. I thought this was a terrible idea on paper. But it didn't come off quite as badly as I thought it would. First of all, Lashley said that the King of the Mountain title is garbage. He doesn't even know what it's for. It has no identity and blah, blah, blah. He's not wrong, guys. I always thought the no identity thing was stupid. Its identity is the second-tier championship that mid-carders vie for to prepare them for the main events and the world title, or at least that's what it should be, but it's really not. As for Lashley's other point, that the title is garbage, somebody had to say it eventually. It might as well be the champion. That piece of crap masquerading as a championship has been renamed like 5 times, been a vanity title for 2 different guys. No one ever has good reigns with it. There's been zero effort on the company's part to change this perception and make it an actually viable, credible championship. You know what? Lashley's 100% right. That belt is garbage, and it belongs in the garbage. You want a real second-tier championship? Throw the King of the Mountain title in the fucking dumpster, light it on fire, put the fire out by pissing all over it, and then introduce a new title, a real title, and take it fucking seriously this time. Because one thing you can absolutely, definitely fucking say about the King of the Mountain title is that they've never taken that thing seriously. Now, as for the X Division title, their verbiage when talking about this one was different, thankfully. They made an attempt to stand up for the title, but I just did not like this. The way they played this was like Lashley believed that no one in the X Division could beat him, and he was above the X Division, and rather than having him put over someone for the title and create a new star that way, he just drops it. This struck a really bad chord with me, I have to say. I thought one of the main reasons for having Lashley win the X Division title in the first place was so they could put over a DJZ or an Eddie Edwards or someone like a huge fucking stud when they finally beat him for it. They had a chance to make one of the X Division guys a big star with one match here, and they just threw it away. You're really shitting on your X Division here because now the next champion, whoever he is, will never be legitimate. Lashley's always going to be the uncrowned champion because none of the X guys ever beat him for the title. And when your X Division has already been devalued as much as it has been, did you really have to do that too? This left a really bad taste in my mouth. It's going to be hard for the X Division to recover from this, and the depressing part is that I suspect they won't even try to recover from it. I think they'll just have some big gimmick match to crown a new champion in a week or two, and then continue on like this never happened. This felt really appropriate with the King of the Mountain title, because that title is worthless, and we all know it, but the X Division title isn't like that. And Dixie said so in this segment. She said the X title is something important to TNA, but her words just felt hollow because that's not how the company treats it anymore. The fact of the matter is, if the X Division title was really important like Dixie claimed, they wouldn't have booked Lashley to do this in the first place. And that brings us to our main event. 4 tag teams fighting for a tag team title shot at Bound for Glory in a ladder match. How many fucking ladder matches have they done this year? Jesus Christ. I don't get excited about these things at all anymore. Ugh. And truth be told, there wasn't a whole lot to get excited about in this match. For something called Ascension to Hell, this was surprisingly tame. You give a match a name like that, I expect some really sick shit to happen here, but there was nothing of the sort. There wasn't a single memorable spot. It was all pretty mediocre by ladder match standards. In fact, I'm thinking back to it right now. I couldn't tell you one damn thing that happened in it. Off the top of my head. I can't remember shit about this match. Except Matt Hardy biting people, because that's the big spot you want to see in a ladder match, right? Is somebody biting everybody? This was instantly forgettable. I'm sorry. Why even do a ladder match at all if you're not going to do anything special with it? Just do a normal 4 corners match. What do you need a fucking ladder for? The gimmick was a complete waste. Let's call it like it is. Ascension to Hell was just an advertising gimmick. Ironic, since TNA don't advertise. They come up with a cool name for a match and post a graphic on Twitter so people will see it and think, whoa, Ascension to Hell, that sounds insane, I have to see this. But then the match itself is just so underwhelming. They didn't even try to make this feel special. There was zero fanfare, no video packages, they barely mentioned it throughout the show. The Hardys were the only ones who got to talk about it beforehand. The other 3 teams didn't get pre-match promos or anything. We didn't even see them until it was time for the match to start. You already knew the Hardys were going to win, but they just took something obvious and made it really fucking obvious. And to top it all off, the Decay didn't show up at the end to confront the Hardys or anything. The Decay didn't even appear on the show. I hate to say it, but this whole thing felt phoned in. Not the strongest impact they've done recently. There were some good things, but some frustrating things as well. Especially when it just needed a little tweak here and there to make things so much better. I'd probably give this show like a thumbs in the middle. Not as strong a show as you want when we're on the road to Bound for Glory, and there are definitely some things they need to address. The X Division needs some fucking attention. Stop making it so unimportant, for the love of God. And also, where the fuck are the Decay? This feud with the Hardys is going to be awfully one-sided if the Hardys are getting like half an hour of screen time every week, and the Decay barely have a presence on the show at all, if they even appear. Which they didn't this week, by the way. Not happy about that. Some feuds are going really nicely, but there are some ducks the writers need to get in a row before October, so let's get a move on with that, guys. Maybe that'll kill the echo. Okay. Um. Okay, I muted the sound on my computer. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you can still hear me, because I've gotten really paranoid about the audio not working. Echoes. Yeah, there was an echo on my end. I think it's because I've got let's see, as I've got Wirecast, like the Wirecast player on. And I think that one needs to stay on in order for you guys to hear the audio. But I also have the stream. I also have the stream on here. And I think that was what was leading to the echo. And I just muted the sound of my monitor. Looks like you guys can still hear me. Okay, cool. So peanut gallery time. Let's see. I really hate what they did with the X and King of the Mountain titles. Just seemed like they were completely burying both titles. Could have made a big star or two. Yeah, yeah, I didn't like that either. It seemed like more than anything else, it was just kind of devaluing the championships. It did make Lashley look like a scumbag, but he was already over as a heel. I don't see why this was necessary. I mean, why even give him the championships at all if he was just going to throw them down and be done with them like that? It's it's a big price to pay for very little payoff. I really would have preferred they just not go there at all. Just don't have him win the championships at all if you were going to do this. And just so you know, this is apparently how they are writing James Storm off TV if the tapings are any indication. I'm not convinced. I know they had him. I know he did like a one night only taping after this was done, where he defeated Bram on a one night only show, and then he said afterward, "Oh, I'm just fulfilling my commitments to the company or whatever," leading a lot of people to suspect that he's done with the company now. But if that was his last match in the company, why are they putting him over Bram? Why wouldn't they have Bram beat him if Storm is the one who's leaving? Not like TNA haven't done that before, but it just doesn't track, and it kind of makes it makes sense because that could actually be done to explain why he's there after getting suspended on TV. So I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. I really hope James Storm isn't leaving, because it would suck if that's how they write him off. Now, right now, I'm kind of expecting him to show up at Bound for Glory and like interfere in a match or something. Let's see. Really liked Jade versus Gail Kim. Felt like an exhibition match. Plus, Jade didn't lose, even though they made it clear that Gail was going to win, of course. Yeah. Like, it's like Gail matches only end like one of two ways. Either she wins decisively, or... Well, one of three ways, actually. My bad. She wins decisively, or she loses via interference right when she was about to win, or someone causes a DQ right when she was about to win. It's like, well, nobody can ever get over on her in any kind of meaningful way, so how are you supposed to create any new stars? If Gail is constantly portrayed as so indestructible, even when people beat her, it doesn't mean anything. Because she was about to win, and then some bullshit interference happens. So the only victories anyone ever gets over her are cheap victories that don't allow the other person to get any kind of rub. It's just... It's so frustrating. You guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about this, but we always get a lot of tough questions in the comments about it, so it seems like a lot of other people are frustrated too. I wish TNA would stop with special episodes, like Turning Point, where they don't do a single thing to make the show look and feel different. Hell, even the spoilers don't mention it. Oh yeah, I guess that's a thing. Like I guess next week is turning point or something. Because we don't need to advertise that at all. I think there might have been a graphic about that. Like by the way, next week is turning point or something, but they didn't mention it on the show. Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to promote it to maximize drawing power, then what's the point? Well, why even do it? It's not going to mean anything, you know. Then I'm pissed off that they don't like make an effort to make the set look different at all. I understand that's a budgetary concern. Maybe it's not. It's not in the. They don't have the money for that right now. But okay, if next week is turning point, maybe you want to mention it this week or last week, and then build up to it so people will anticipate it. But no, they're just after the show ends, they put a graphic on Twitter. It's like, oh, by the way, next week is turning point. So it's just a name. It's not going to mean anything if you don't do anything special for it. Jade, Rosemary, Allie, and Sienna should be the top 4 knockouts, with Gail and Maria being used for star power and the rest working their way up the ladder. Agreed. Mackenzie Mitchell needs to be on TV as well. Find a role for her, Tina. I'd like to see Mackenzie Mitchell do more on the show. I like having a female member of the broadcast team. Like make her give her like an interview spot on the show, or I don't know, try her out in the announce booth. Why the hell not? I'd like to see a female announcer. That'd be interesting. If Gail wasn't in the impact zone, she would be getting the Roman Reigns treatment. Jade and the other women deserve better. Hard to argue with that. If Gail really isn't getting a shot again, then she might as well have lost clean to Jade. Well, rest assured, she will be getting a shot again. To suggest that Gail won't be getting another title shot, no, that's not happening. They'll reverse this decision maybe as early as next week. Like I said, like the way Maria did this was practically inviting Dixie and Billy to overthrow her. Like, oh, you're abusing your power, so that stipulation is thrown out, and Gail will be getting a title shot because God forbid anyone else get a fucking title shot. Like Jade, who still has a contractually obligated rematch for the title and hasn't gotten it yet. But no, we have to do Gail first. Because the whole fucking universe revolves around Gail in this Knockouts division. I've been watching Impact live stream from Fight Network, and I've noticed the show is a bit longer there since they air shorter commercials. For example, there was a full entrance for EC3. Huh. I guess maybe they do like 2 different edits, and Fight Network gets a different cut of the show. With shorter commercials, you can fit in more time for Impact. Yeah, okay. That's nice. I don't have Fight Network, so it doesn't mean anything to me, but it's nice that there's a longer cut of the show out there somewhere. I also believe the Eli Drake promo was a bit longer there. I'm not sure if they showed his entrance or not. In the past, they were showing a lot longer recaps of what happened earlier. Some of them were even 2 minutes long, so just so Pop can catch up. It was annoying as hell. Let's see. Storm lost fair and square. He had no grounds for a rematch. Billy was right. Technically, yes, but he did have Lashley pinned while the referee was distracted. So you could definitely argue that the referee fucked up, and that's the reason why Storm isn't the champion right now. I think Storm had grounds for a rematch, just based on his tenure with the company. And it's not like the guy asks for a lot, you know. He made a fair request. I think you could have just given him his rematch and the whole problem would have gone away. Um, it just seemed like that was the path of least resistance, and then Billy has to come up with all these different reasons for why he can't get a rematch. Well, just give him his fucking rematch. What's the problem? The ladder match wasn't bad. It was good, but it lacked a big spot. I was still waiting for one, and then it ended. I feel like they could have had Lashley's promo at the end of the show instead of this. I'm not saying the ladder match was bad. It just wasn't anything amazing. It was it just felt like really standard fare. Not even that. I mean, like I said, you call a match Ascension to Hell. I expect something big to happen there. Otherwise, why are you calling it Ascension to Hell? I mean, they didn't do anything special in that match. If you're not, then don't call it fucking Ascension to Hell. You know what I mean? Like I said, the whole Ascension to Hell thing was a marketing gimmick. Just to get people to tune in, and then they didn't follow through on it. Because all they had planned was a pretty run-of-the-mill, kind of bland, in my opinion, ladder match. Let's see. Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett should stay a tag team. Well, they would definitely help the tag team division. That's for damn sure. What's your predictions for UFC 202 and SummerSlam? Well, if Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor even happens, I don't know if it will. It seems like those guys are getting into trouble all over the place. I think Nate Diaz probably wins again. Conor has to change weight divisions to do this match, this fight. So I think the odds are not in his favor. SummerSlam, geez, what matches are they doing at SummerSlam? I think Sasha probably goes over again and retains the title. I think Dean Ambrose over Dolph Ziggler. What the hell else is what's the rest of the card? I think they're doing AJ and Cena. I heard Cena's going away to shoot another TV series or something, so AJ probably wins that one. The hell is the rest of the card? Oh, come on, WWE.com. Don't. Orton versus Orton versus Brock Lesnar, rather. I figure probably Brock Lesnar wins, just because it's Brock Lesnar. They want to keep their monster intact. And this thing is not loading up for some reason. Screw it. Those are the main matches. What was the point of Lashley winning all those titles if he was just going to drop them this quickly? Yeah, I'm also asking that question. I don't know. I don't know what the point is. As far as I can tell, there was no point. All it accomplished was making the titles look like shit. What do you think of Paige being suspended for a wellness violation? I think she needs to break up with ADR. Because it didn't seem like she had any of these problems before that relationship. But like ADR is just having like a really bad influence on her for some reason. And now it seems like she's getting in trouble pretty regularly. I heard that ADR is going to leave once his contract runs out, and hopefully he and Paige will break up because it'll be a long-distance relationship at that point. And maybe Paige will go back to being a good employee and stop getting in trouble and get her career back on track. Allie as a heel is more over than Gale. Well, well, no spoilers, but it looks like Allie may be more over as a face than Gale pretty soon. Yeah, spoiler for the next couple of weeks. Thoughts on Eva Marie's suspension? I don't really have any. I don't give a shit about Eva Marie. Um, why does the WWE book the IC title like shit? Uh, I don't know. It wasn't always like that. Like way back in the day, the IC title was something really prestigious, and it hasn't been like that anymore. Um, I don't know. Maybe it was when they introduced the U.S. title as well, and they had two secondary titles, and neither of them, which meant that neither of them seemed that important because there were more of them. And I don't know. It just seems like for a long time now, the IC title just hasn't been that important because they're more focused on the main eventers and the world slash WWE titles. And I think it's dumb. I think it's counterproductive. I think it should be a viable mid card championship, but it's just they're just not focused on that. I couldn't tell you why. If WWE were to fire Paige, should if WWE were to fire Paige, should TNA try to sign her? Hell yeah, she's really talented and marketable, and young and hot, and she's got star power. Of course, they should try to sign her. Should she become available? Funny, kind of funny how the one match Gale doesn't win doesn't show up on TNA's YouTube channel. It figures because we can't show our Princess Gale not win, I guess. I'd like to think it was because they started reading all the negative comments about Gale on those videos and were trying to avoid those. But I don't think they're that self-aware. I don't think they're that aware of what's going on with the anti-Gale sentiment growing in the fan community. Bring back the screaming pillow. I don't know if I still have that particular pillow. I guess I could substitute another pillow, but Reigns calls Lana ugly. Man, those roids must have fried his brain. Yeah. Well, there's a reason why. There's another reason why Reigns is a shitty babyface. Insulting a heel because of the way they look, and not because of the kind of person they are. That's a shitty thing to do. That's a bully. Okay, that's just petty garbage. That's not what a babyface is supposed to do. Also, Lana is fucking hotter than the fires of hell, so what the hell is he smoking? Also, the fans like Lana. So insulting Lana is not going to get Reigns babyface heat. You hear all those "We want Lana" chants all the time? You know? Reigns, insulting her is not going to make you look good, that's for damn sure. Let's see. And Jade was awesome in the match. She should be the face of the division. Hashtag fire Maria as Knockouts leader. No, I disagree on that. Do you remember what the Knockout division was like before Maria became the Knockouts leader? They were really kind of just treading water, going through the motions and repeating the same types of feuds over and over again. If anything, Maria becoming the Knockout Authority figure became the catalyst for a lot of different types of stories. And I'm not happy about the whole Gail Kim thing, but at least it's different from what we were getting before. You know? Look, excuse me. And I did not expect to say that because the whole Knockout Authority figure had been done twice before and it didn't work either time. But Maria brought something new to it, and with her as the Authority figure, there are a lot of different things they can do with that if they are so inclined. I think it's good story material. If there's good story material there, if they want to use it, they just gotta get away from the Gail Kim thing all the damn time. Where am I? I'm just glad the Brokens are going for the tag titles and not going for the heavyweight title, but yeah, they should limit the Broken segments. Yeah, they're really becoming superfluous. TNA are just think must TNA must think that Matt Hardy is just the most fascinating thing ever right now because he's just all over the fucking place. Not surprising, considering he's most likely booking his own stuff. And he seems to have Dixie's ear, which is, I guess, is why she allows him to have such a gigantic presence on the show. But it really hurts if they're going into a feud with the Decay and we barely see the Decay. Okay, well, if you're going to have Matt Hardy on screen for 20 minutes or a half an hour, you're going to have the people he's feuding with in there too. Because it's been in the last 2 weeks, they've had one 60-second backstage promo and that's it. This feud is going to be completely one-sided if that keeps up. Yeah, the feud's not going to be interesting. You got to get the Decay in there too and let them have a presence, an equal presence. Otherwise, they're just going to get squashed and buried and forgotten about. If there's a purpose to feuding them with the Hardys, is to make the Decay seem more legitimate, and right now that's not happening because the Hardys are getting all the damn TV time. Let's see. Ascension to Hell should have been a 4-team tournament with the Helms Dynasty and the Hardys in the finals. Should have been a good rub for them, and then a ladder match would have made more sense. Yeah, I would have preferred that than just a random 4-team ladder match with no promotion. Let's see. I hope Allie turns on Maria, but I don't want it to be a Bound for Glory where she helps Gail win. That would not make me like Allie at all. I think it's more likely that that if the match happens, well, of course the match is going to happen, but I think it's more likely that Maria will try to force Allie to interfere in the match, but the interference will backfire and that'll lead to Maria losing. It's just a prediction, but I think that's more likely. Raquel is like a less annoying version of Velvet Sky. Well, plus, one thing Raquel has over Velvet Sky is that she doesn't talk as much, probably because she really can't talk. We saw, I guess she really doesn't talk much at all. I guess they figured out that her mic skills ain't that good. So she's really just there as eye candy. And another plus, she doesn't really wrestle that much. I think we've seen her get physically involved a couple of times, but I guess they don't trust her to wrestle yet. Probably the right way, probably the right decision. Wow, what does that say about Raquel when they consider her less reliable in the ring than Velvet? Wow. Let's see. Gail gets title shots even when she loses. What is that logic? Oh, it's the we only care about making Gail look good at the expense of everyone else. Yeah. Exactly. There needs to be more Decay segments. Totally agree. Rosemary for champ. Hell fucking yeah, man. I'm still pissed that they're not doing more with her, considering the Suicide Squad movie is out right now, and people are always making those comparisons to Harley Quinn. It's like, dude, you've got your pro wrestling version of Harley Quinn right here. Suicide Squad is breaking box office records everywhere right now. Do something big with Rosemary. For fuck's sake, it writes itself. It's just, I cannot believe they're not taking advantage of that. What a missed opportunity right there. It's idiots. Oh my god. Okay. I doubt TNA reads the comments. I mean, didn't the Brother Nero contract signing have a zillion dislikes and negative comments, yet they didn't seem to care? Yeah, I kind of doubt they're reading those comments. Damn it. Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry. Sorry, be right back. Sorry about that. Alright, where the hell was I? Should have been a 4-team tournament with the Helms Dynasty and the Hardys in the finals. Would have been a good run for them in a better ladder match. Yeah. Will you watch the UFC pay-per-view tonight? I'm planning to. Unless something else comes up. The Screaming Pillow would be great for every time Gale wins. Yeah. Might be time to bring that back. Let's see. What do you think about the rumor that Zendaya will be playing MJ in the new Spider-Man movie? Okay. Well, I knew somebody was going to ask me about this. All right, so let's shift gears. Okay, so this news about this came out on I think Thursday night. I noticed Mary Jane was trending, and I clicked on that and was like, oh, there may have been some race bending going on here. I don't know if it's official yet. I think it's just heavily rumored right now. I haven't seen an official statement or anything. But apparently, Zendaya, one of those, who was previously reported to be playing a character named Michelle in Spider-Man Homecoming, might actually be playing Mary Jane Watson. A lot of people are saying that right now. Zendaya, as some of you are probably aware, is black. Or, blackish. She's, lighter skin, black. She's got some kind of, ethnic... something or other. She's not white. That's the point. Okay? And, this is controversial because... so how do I feel about this news? Well, personally, unnecessary changes to the source material really get under my skin because, why change it if you don't have to? It's like with Fat Four-Stick making Sue adopted, instead of being Johnny's blood relative, blood-related sister. That annoyed me more than the race bending thing, because why make her adopted? You're changing established details that have been canon for decades when you don't have to. It's unnecessary. So I don't like it when they change stuff that doesn't need to be changed. And I like it when the actors resemble the characters from the comics as much as possible, because I like looking at the screen and feeling like they just walked off the comic page. This is going to be, if this is true, if Zendaya is playing MJ, then it's a new take on the character, so I can't really do that, because she's going to look different, obviously. I'll admit I feel a little weird about this, but I'm not going to make a big thing about it, because it's 2016 and it really shouldn't be a big thing. Plus, I mean, come on, guys, they made the Ancient One in Doctor Strange a pasty white chick. It was weird and really awkward, and I wish they hadn't done it, but they did it. That road has to go both ways, or we're all just a bunch of hypocrites, okay? So, if Zendaya is playing Mary Jane, you know what? Let's give her a shot. If she's a good actress, if she gets the character right, I guess that's all that matters. In the Sam Raimi movies, yeah, Kirsten Dunst looked more like MJ, but performance-wise, so there's more than just the looks factor to consider here. Now I've never seen Zendaya in anything. I don't know if she's a good actress or a bad actress or any kind of actress, but Marvel hasn't fucked up on a casting choice yet, so they've earned our trust by now. If they think she's right for the part, okay. I've got no reason to think Marvel's going to make a bad decision there. I mean, yes, Sony still has some influence, and that's a concern because they haven't always made the right choices when it comes to their superhero properties. But let's give her the benefit of the doubt here. It's not how I picture MJ, but someone with skin tone that's different from mine might feel differently. Besides, maybe this will shut up all those SJW clowns on Tumblr who keep bitching about how racist Marvel is because they didn't cast Peter Parker as a Filipino transgender woman or something. But if I could ask one thing, just one thing, just give her red hair in the movie. It's not going to feel right if MJ doesn't have red hair. Give her a dye job or some highlights or something. I'm not asking for much here. Just put a little red on her head. That's all I ask. I think that's reasonable. Okay. Personally, I don't think it's true. The site that reported it is not that credible, and it would go against what they said at Comic-Con. Well, it's not just one site reporting this. It's actually a lot of sites. I've seen it. I've seen it reported at a number of different places, not on any official channels, but a lot of people are saying it right now. So we'll see. Raquel has wrestled 23 matches outside TNA since December 2015. She's improving, but she can't talk, so there's nothing for her in the meantime. Yeah, I've seen a couple of matches from hers by now. For someone with so little experience, she could be a lot worse, but she's still not where she needs to be skill-wise. I still don't want to see her wrestling on TV. I still don't trust her to wrestle on TV. And mic skills-wise, I know English doesn't appear to be her first language, so there's gonna be a barrier there, obviously. But if she can't cut a competent promo, then really, what's she good for? If we don't trust her to wrestle and she can't talk really, then she's just there as eye candy. Why did they sign this girl? I don't. If she's bringing so little to the table right now, I don't understand it. Even if she does turn out to have potential as a wrestler, it's going to be a while before she can fully realize that. And what are we doing with her in the meantime? It just seems like kind of a waste, And I lost my place again here. Oh, here we go. What's worse, Velvet being the focus of the division in 2011 or Gale currently being the focus of the division? I'm going to say Velvet. Velvet was worse. At least with Gale, we get good matches out of it, even if the outcome is a foregone conclusion every damn time. Most underused talent, Sarita or Brittany? I'm going to say Sarita. I mean, Sarah Stock's probably one of the best women's wrestlers in the world. And they had her as a fucking valet/manager for Mexican America. Jesus fucking Christ. They never gave her a title run, or the Knockout Singles title run. She was really misused throughout her whole run. I really enjoyed the tag team with Taylor Wilde, but that didn't go any... That, it kind of fizzled out when the Knockout Tag Team title division fizzled out. And, I think Brittany is... I'm not saying they used her correctly either. They didn't. But overall, I think Sarah Stock was the more exciting talent to me, and to see her being misused, that was That was really frustrating for me. Let's see. I hate when WWE and TNA don't utilize some of their biggest wrestlers, such as Cesaro, Spud, Mandrews, and Eli Drake, because where the hell are they? Dummy, yeah. Yeah, I don't get it with Cesaro. It seems like they don't even have much of a plan for him on Raw, which begs the question: why draft him to Raw if the Raw writers didn't have much for him to do? I mean, he already cut that promo that may or may not have been a shoot, saying he wished he had been drafted to SmackDown. And it seems like Daniel Bryan wanted him on SmackDown, so why isn't he on SmackDown? Especially when SmackDown is so light on talent compared to Raw. If you're not doing anything with the guy on Raw, then why'd you put him on Raw to begin with? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Rockstar Spud and Mandrews, yeah, same thing. Mandrews doesn't show up very often, and he doesn't win he never wins when he does. Rockstar Spud needs some kind of a role. He's got no direction right now. Here's a thought: make them a fucking tag team. Why the shit not? Neither of them are doing anything right now. You need fucking tag teams. Turn Mandrews heel or turn Spud face. Make them a goddamn tag team. It would work. It would make sense. They're both the British boot camp too. They're both the British boot camp winners. They've worked well together in the past. Make them a fucking tag team. What's the fucking problem? I like the Allie responded to your tweet with a sad-faced emoji. Yeah. Yeah, Allie's really cool about responding to people. She's responded to me several times. Yeah, so she's really cool about that. I don't really have a problem with Raw's logo, even though it is lame. My issue with it is that it seems so basic. Like, they put, like, no effort into it at all. They didn't stylize it or anything. It's just, it looks like something, like, somebody made on, with Photoshop during their lunch break or something. I swear, when I heard the Raw was having a new title belt, I did the biggest facepalm ever. They're having a new title belt? Oh, yeah, like the Universal title belt. Yeah. Because, see, the WWE Universal title is bigger than the WWE World title because it encompasses an entire universe, so that means it's better than the World title, which means that Raw is better, right? Hashtag WWE logic. It's so dumb. Can comic book writers make the X-Men comics even more convoluted? There are way too many backstories from different writers. It's just so unnecessary. That's one of the reasons why I'm not reading the X-Men comics right now. And I say that being a huge X-Men fan. I grew up with the X-Men. I love the cartoon series in the 90s. I love the comics. I have like tons and tons of the comics. But I'm not reading the X-Men right now. I don't like what they're doing with them. Yeah, they've obviously been marginalized because Marvel doesn't have the movie rights to the X-Men. And so they're kind of trying to pump up the Inhumans as like the new, like the replacement X-Men, while the X-Men are doing this stupid thing where they're like been pushed to the brink of extinction again. They just did this with fucking M-Day a couple of years back. Now they're doing like basically the same thing. I guess because like the Terrigen cloud makes the X-Men sterile or diseased or something like that. It's dumb. And this whole thing with like the original X-Men come to the travel into the present, like time travel, and now they're stuck there. It's just, why not just do stuff with your new characters instead? We know nothing bad is going to happen to the original X-Men, because if they do, then the ones from the present will cease to exist. So obviously they're going to go back to the past at some point, and the whole thing will be reset like it never happened, because we got to preserve the fucking status quo. So what's the point of even having them in the present to begin with? It's dumb. And Um. So yeah, there's a lot going on with the X-Men titles that I don't like right now. I don't. I'm not a fan of what they're doing with the X-Men right now. Are you on Instagram? No, I'm not. I have a Facebook account which I don't use. I guess it's just not my social media platform of choice. I'm on Twitter, which I use all the time, and I have a Tumblr account, but I go by a different name on Tumblr, and I don't use it to talk about wrestling. That's for other stuff. And that's about all the social media I really feel like I need. I may get on Instagram at some point, but I could post pictures on Twitter, so I don't really feel the need to get on Instagram. Like I said, it might change at some point, but right now I don't need Instagram. I really like Helm's Dynasty, but they're poorly packaged. They need matching gear and a Titantron and theme music that isn't generic. Agreed, definitely. I don't know if it was a shoot or not, but so far Cesaro has just been proven right. Yeah, he has. Raquel isn't TV ready for sure, and I would rather TNA had signed a wrestler that can wrestle currently. That said, she doesn't really bug me, so that's something. Oh, she doesn't really. I don't think she really bugs you because she doesn't really do anything. She just stands there and looks pretty, and that's occasionally she'll get involved in a match, but she doesn't really do all that much, and so she doesn't really have the opportunity to annoy anyone because her role is so inconsequential. Why do you call the comment section the peanut gallery? It's just an expression. I don't know where it came from, but it's an expression. Yeah, judging from how they booked Allie, Kaylee Ray probably would be a secretary that wrestles once every 5 months. Now, I don't think she would be. Just because she'd be, the British boot camp contestant that they'd want to make use of because the UK market is important to them. So no, I don't think that would happen. Let's see. It's bigger and better than the title with over half a decade of history because we called it the Universe. Also, Lashley currently is a huge dick. Fans are going to love seeing EC3 dethrone him once and for all. I agree. I think they could have accomplished that easily without having to make the King of the Mountain title and the X Division title just look inconsequential to him. I mean, didn't matter with the King of the Mountain title. Just the thing is a piece of shit. Get it away from me. I never want to see it again. But the X Division title didn't need that. How do you feel about about SmackDown potentially having a belt? There's on three. Wait, what? How do you feel about the SmackDown potentially having a belt? There's on 3 women there can build the belt around Naomi, Natalya, Becky Lynch. I think it's. They ran into this problem with there being too many titles once upon a time. I think the first time they did the brand split, I think they had different, way too many titles on different brands. I think a better way to do this would have been to have certain divisions be exclusive to each show so as to further differentiate them. Like how the tag team division exclusive to Raw and the Divas division exclusive to SmackDown. So, hey, if you're a fan of tag team wrestling, you turn into Raw. If you're a fan of women's wrestling, you turn into SmackDown for that. It would further make the shows and help make the shows distinct from each other, which I thought was the whole point. But if you're going to have, tag team divisions on both shows, Divas divisions on both shows, that means you're diluting the roster in order to create them. So you've got 2 weak rosters on 2 shows instead of 1 strong roster on 1 show. I know Becky said something about the women needing something to fight over on SmackDown, and I don't disagree with that. I don't know if they've got a big enough women's roster on SmackDown to really support a championship. Um, who do they have? They have Becky, they have Natty, they got Naomi. I imagine that Nikki Bella is going to go to SmackDown because that's where her boyfriend is. I don't care about Nikki Bella. Who the hell else? Carmella, I think her name is the one who moonwalks. A couple others. It's a small roster. I would like to see them have something to fight over, but if you introduce a new championship, you're going to be falling into a trap of having too many championships eventually. And I don't know if it's a question that has an easy answer. Maybe if you bring up a couple, excuse me, if you bring up a couple more girls from NXT and put them on SmackDown, then you could support a championship like Bayley and Asuka. I don't know why the hell Bayley isn't on the main roster yet. It's like, what the hell else is she going to learn on NXT, you know? Put Bayley on fucking SmackDown. Let's... if after BFG, Rosemary is still not wrestling, will she just be a manager and that's it? No, I think they'll have her wrestle when the time is right. I think right now, honestly, right now, I'm happy that Rosemary is not really wrestling in the knockout division, because if she were, she'd just be buried by Gail Kim, like everyone else is. So I'm very happy that Rosemary is not involved in that right now. I would like to see her wrestle more after Bound for Glory, because she's a good wrestler. It'd be nice to see them utilize her that way. But right now she's doing her thing with the Decay, and maybe they don't want to overexpose her or have her doing two different things at once. Maybe when the focus isn't on the Decay so much, they can utilize Rosemary more as a singles competitor in the knockout division. I would like to see that. I don't think she's going to be relegated to just a manager. I think they're just doing that with her right now because that's how they introduced her, and she's really fucking good at it. And when the time is right, they'll expand her role. I'm sure they will. I love the small moment between Sienna and Bobby Lashley when she told him, "Don't get cute," when he glances at her belt. Yeah, that was funny. And if you think they wouldn't have Lashley win the Knockouts title, remember, this would not be the first time in this company that a man has held a women's championship. Need I remind you of when Eric Young was one half of the Knockout Tag Team Champions? Don't think they wouldn't do it, guys. It was a funny moment, though. Thoughts on the Deadpool 2 casting rumors? I haven't heard any. So I have no opinion. Looking forward to Drew versus EC3. I think this is the best time for Drew to turn heel, and people can't bitch about it not making sense. Yeah, I think the timing feels right for it. Or they could probably string it out until Bound for Glory, where it would mean the most. But yeah, I think it makes sense if EC3 finally beats him. That would be like the straw that broke the camel's back and really push Drew over the edge. As for the X Division title, he at least took care to mention that it's the foundation of the company and has some talented guys in there now, so he looked like a piece of shit for tossing the title out anyway. Well, it still made the division look bad because he thought there were no X Division guys that could beat him, and none of the X Division guys even came out to refute this. So it didn't do the division any favors, and it was just another a gut punch for a division that's already been, kicked a lot, I just didn't like it. I think Rosemary transitioning to a primary wrestler still has some time before it happens. Yeah, I think so. Now that they're feuding with the Hardys, who have a woman with them in Rebby, I think there's a chance we might see her get Rosemary get physically involved more. So that's a step in the right direction, at least. But there's still a lot of stuff she can do as a manager and a character before she becomes more of a wrestler. If DJZ wins the belt, it would be cool to see him get an upset on Lashley for revenge. With EC3 interference would help validate the X Division. Yeah, it would. But now, it's like DJZ will probably win the damn title without having to beat Lashley. So he doesn't get that rub. And Lashley will look like the uncrowned champion, which means DJZ's title run won't be legitimate. And that's the problem I have. It's once we get a new champion, well, the champion isn't going to be won't be as credible as he should be because he didn't beat the former champion for it. Do you think Allie will still play the non-wrestler type if she turns on Maria? Maybe at first. I think her turning on Maria or Maria turning on her would be the catalyst for Allie to become more of a wrestler. Love it or hate it, the Allie character is supposed to be like a novice wrestler, so maybe they'll start developing her into more of a wrestler. Like say that she's been going to training every day and she's working really hard to get better in the ring, and then have her start showing more of her skills that she displays as Cherry Bomb. That'll probably be like the inciting incident that forces her to become more of a wrestler type. At least I hope so. Jade was boss in that match. I mean, her catching Gail and slamming her on her knees was too good. Oh yeah, that was an awesome spot, right? Like Gail splashed out from in the ring, and then Gail and then Jade caught her on the floor, and then threw her up, and then came down and had Gail come down on her knees and everything. That was a great spot. Let's see. After Z wins the belt, he challenges Lashley anyway to stand up for the division. That would be ideal. Like DJZ wins the X Division title and says, he cuts a promo saying, "Look, this title run is not legitimate until I beat the former champion. So I want to call Lashley out and challenge him to a match. Maybe they have a match, and maybe there's interference, like EC3, distracts Lashley and costs him a title. That'll be fine." As long as DJZ gets a pin on Lashley, that's all he needs, I'm not going to be greedy about this, because they want to protect Lashley, so it doesn't have to be a clean victory, it just has to be a victory. And not like a DQ finish or something. A victory wherein, if Lashley still had the X Division title, it would have changed hands. That's all that needs to happen. I think that's very doable. And I think it's something that really should happen. Let's see. I want Jade and Gail Kim to have a good 15 to 20 minute match. Me too. They can't seem to have a... It seems like that one, I don't know, they're saving that one for something. Hopefully that match will happen at some point, and it won't end in a DQ next time. Who should be in the grand title picture, and what other parts of the roster need new additions? Well, there's spoilers here, but okay, let's say who should be in the mid-card title picture, so as to avoid spoiling things for people who don't want to be spoiled. Bram is a good guy to put in there. Eli Drake, of course. I think probably Braxton Sutter because he doesn't really fit in the X division. Aaron Rex perhaps. Putting him in the world title picture might be jumping the gun a little bit, so I think he'd be a good guy to have in there. Or any main eventers that aren't currently going for the world title, like a Drew Galloway. That would be a good way to build up his heel persona, to give him like a mid-card title and just let him just go nuts with that for a while. There are a bunch of people that could put in there. What other parts of the roster need new additions? The tag team division, for fuck's sake. I guess they could stand to have more mid-card people for the mid-card title. I imagine that's where Marsh Rocket is going to end up, because as I've heard that he's not really an X Division guy. He's more of an agile, bigger guy. So I guess he would be a good person to put in the mid-card division. Caleb Conley, I guess he's more of an X Division guy from what I've heard. What else? Well, tag team mid-card. I think they're pretty well set with the knockouts right now. I would say they need more X Division guys, but they barely use the ones they have anyway. Plus they got Caleb Conley coming in at some point, so I think tag and mid-card are the ones that need help right now. How do you feel about Chelsea Green's new name? I personally feel like if one of those names that have to grow on you, like Ember Moon. Yeah, okay, so, alright, well, here's a spoiler. Chelsea Green's going to debut soon, and she has a new name. They're calling her Laurel Van Ness. So, the weird thing is, they already did an interview with her on the YouTube page where they called her Chelsea Green. So why not call her by her new ring name in that interview? Why are you calling her Chelsea and then debuting her with another name? It's weird. It's a different name. I think it will take a little bit of getting used to, but it's not like she was a super well-known character or a performer like a Candice LeRae or someone like that. I mean, if you called Candice LeRae like a different name, that would be stupid. But who was Chelsea Green before this? She was a tough enough contestant. There's not a lot of name value there, so I think it's fine. Apparently they're going to have her doing some kind of like a stuck-up rich girl type of gimmick. So it sounds like it sounds like an appropriate Laurel Van something or other. I think Vaughn would be better, like VON, something like that. It sounds better to me, but we haven't seen it yet. I think we'll get used to it. Problem with a longer Jade and Gale match is, it would be good, but honestly, do we really think that Jade would defeat Gale? No, we don't. Maybe if it was Gale's last match in the company, she might put somebody over. That's why I specified during the review. Someday we got to see these two go for like 20 minutes and have a clean finish. Meaning, by clean finish, I mean Jade winning. This made a point to specify that I wanted Jade to win. TNA is stupid for changing Chelsea's name. Why? Was Chelsea Green like a big recognizable brand in wrestling? Not really. She was a tough enough contestant. Let's think about wrapping it up at this point, guys. So get your final questions and comments in. I'm going to put the cutoff point in a minute, and then we can call it a day. Favorite championship belts? I don't really have any. I think that the current design of the X Division title is pretty cool. But I don't really get hung up on belt designs unless there's something like really gaudy or special about them. Like the Divas butterfly belt just kind of invited criticism. um, but yeah, favorite belt design? I don't really have one. Yeah, funny how the new name they chose for her is Laurel. How is that funny? I think that's the kind of name a rich person, like a wealthy person, might give their daughter. Do you think? What do you think of Anna Kendrick wanting to play Squirrel Girl in a movie? Sounds like perfect casting to me. I can't imagine that Marvel is going to fast track a Squirrel Girl movie, but if they did, I mean, who better than Anna Kendrick? It sounds perfect. Um. You know what? I'll give it another minute or two. But it seems like we're about dried up for questions here. So. Okay. All right. I think that's about it. Um. It seems like TNA is subtly changing its name to Impact Wrestling, which sounds better in my opinion and has a much better logo. I hope it makes it official. Well, haven't those wheels in motion? Haven't those wheels been in motion for a while now, though? Since they changed the name of the company to Impact Wrestling, I thought that was just a matter of time before that happened. Anyway, all right, I guess that's going to be it for questions. But if I can put a cheap plug in here, there is a new Tick TV show. Remember the Tick? That old cartoon series from like years ago, which I have on DVD, and the short-lived Patrick Warburton live-action series. There's a new one, and it's awesome. It's on Amazon. They got the pilot up on Amazon. You can watch it for free. I watched it yesterday, and it's really fucking funny. And so please go to Amazon. I put a link to it on my Twitter. Just go to my page and scroll down a little bit. There's a graphic on there. Just click on that. Go to the page and you can watch the pilot episode for free. It's really funny, really entertaining. So please support the new Tick show so we get a new Tick series. And and because I really want this to go to series, because it's really cool. Yeah, I'm watching it later on. The Tick is back. Yeah. Spoon! Go watch it right now, dude. It's great. Yeah, that'll be it. Thanks for joining, everybody, and glad we could do this on Saturday. Because I tend to have to work on Saturday a lot of the time this time of year. So I don't know if it'll be on Saturday next week. But as always, just watch my Twitter for updates. And if we have to push it to Sunday or Monday or whenever, I'll post a notice about that. So thanks for tuning in. Go check out The Tick on Amazon.com. Check my Twitter. I put a link to it on there. And I will talk to you guys next time. Later.